Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Paint Table. It's my weekly show where you see what I got done, what I'm working on, and what is coming up. So today, I didn't finish that many models this week. I painted 2 miniatures. It feels like a slow week. But I had a ton of other hobby stuff going on. I was finishing up some photography stuff for Gamma Wolves. I did a whole bunch of writing and copy stuff to do the 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy Battle Skirmish rules that I put up this week for my patrons, and just a variety of just the time intensive stuff that when you're filming videos and then also trying to do other things goes by the wayside if you don't get it done. So I'm at a point where I have to make time for either painting, writing, modeling, filming games, and the budget gets chopped up differently, and this was one of those weeks where it got chopped into the writing, creating, and being a game designer part of the game. But yeah, no, I got so many projects on the go. I got 3 new projects that landed on my table. I have Core Space. King's War Vanguard has a brand new expansion and campaign system for it that Owen and I are super jazzed about. I got a new warband to paint for that. And then The Walking Dead Call to Arms has shown up too. So I've got some new zombie apocalypse stuff to try out too from Mantic and The Walking Dead. So yeah, holy moly, there's so much stuff to try. I got to play a bunch of Bushido this week though, which was awesome. I played some Age of Sigmar, and I also played some Monster Apocalypse too, which is going to be back on the channel actually next week. So those of you who've been clamoring for more Monster Apocalypse, Chase is playing some games now. He hasn't got his dinosaurs painted, so he's borrowing mine because he wants to try the game out, but it's going to help him figure out what he wants to paint and stuff too. And I get to take Kraken Octus and King Kondo for a try, so you can look forward to that on Friday. So yeah, so let's see what I got done. I finished 2 ninjas for my KKZ for Bushido. I'm also going to play with my Edo clan this week against Owen's new Gremlins, the Savage Wave, the all Bakemono force, which is horrifying. So I'll show you what got done and what is coming up. So here's what I got done this week. It's the last 2 ninja models I didn't have painted. This is Ujimushi, who is one of the trainee ninjas for the KKZ, the Kaze Kagezoku. And then this right here is Wamu, another trainee ninja. It's awesome. It gives me a bow and another cheap fighter. The one thing with the ninjas, the KKZ, is they are so expensive per model. They have no cheap, button pushing infantry that these 2, even though they are as expensive as some characters in other factions, because they have all of the amazing abilities light-footed, camouflage 2, dodge, they both have assassins, one has sidestep defense, a bow. They are crazy expensive for being just the plebs, but they are the plebs because almost half of my models in my faction run over 20 and can just kill almost anybody in the game. There's a bunch of tireless dudes where if the goblins charge them or someone charges them, they don't even get tired from fighting on the reactive. Yeah, it's horrifying. They're really, really good. So I'm glad to have these done though. It is my last two that I don't have painted. I think there might be 1 or 2 new ninjas that I don't have from the stuff that has come out since I first picked up the KKZ, but I've got 12 or 8 or 9 models. No more than that. No, 10 models I think right now painted for my KKZ, which means I have all the options in the world. You're never really getting more than 5, which means that this is plenty for now, and I'm glad to have some cheap ninja options besides Yuto painted up to be able to play some games. So we'll be playing a lot more Bushido in the future. We're really enjoying it. Owen's going to dive deeper into his Savage Wave and then maybe paint some of this unpainted stuff for his Cult of Yurei as well. And here's some awesome new Vanguard stuff from Mantic. We've got just a whole new warband for me to paint, which I'm stoked about for the undead. You've got maybe my favorite miniature ever, which is a halfling vampire. Oh Mantic, I love you so much. You do the craziest shit. It's hilarious. That's the support pack. This here is the actual faction pack with some of the great plastic skeletons, zombies, and ghouls. And then this thing, which is the Undead Goreblight, which is a huge, weird, stitched-together Frankenstein monster. And the Reinforcement pack, which has the Armored Orc zombies and some of the skeleton archers and crossbows and stuff, too. So it is lots to paint. I'm excited about it. And the reason we're going to paint it up is there is a new campaign book called Ice and Iron, which also gives updated faction lists for some new factions and a whole bunch of other factions for Kings of War. And it's got a narrative. You can play it with 2, 3, or 4 players, but it's a linked narrative campaign of a whole bunch of games. And Owen and I are going to go through it. He's painting up a pile of Kingdoms of Men stuff right now. He just got a huge pile of Deus Vult Knights, some Crusade era, I think, Templars that he's painting up. Just foot sergeants and stuff, and he's going to whip together a warband so that we can throw down some games. It's going to be undead against Crusaders. It's going to look very cool. It'll look very Army of Darkness. So I'm jazzed about that. I'm gonna get this run together so we can get that stuff recorded, and I think it's gonna be at least 6 or 7 games of Vanguard in a very cool linked narrative series too. And you get to see me do a review of this book coming up. And then over here, we got some call to arms. We have the faction packs for Rick's group, the Woodbury Army, and the Walkers. So like the Walkers are like the scenery basically, but the 2 faction packs for Woodbury and Rick's group. And the prisoner booster pack, because you never know with those prisoners, they might change sides. And the Walker herds actually come with cool ass movement trays, which I'm pretty jazzed about. So getting this stuff painted up means that we can throw down some like mass combat games. Now the Call to Arms game is a little less narratively driven and a little more like a war game, and has its own skirmish battle rulebook too. So I'm pretty jazzed about this because this is like a sort of like the factions are fighting each other game versus just like heroes sort of like exploring and looting and getting zombies and stuff. And there's like tons of stuff, equipment cards, upgrade cards, like piles of stuff to play the game. So I'll be painting up the models to give this a go too relatively soon. And I'll be throwing out some zombies. And then finally core space. I got this all unpacked. I got to clean it up and put some sand and grit on them. So just clean up the mold lines and stuff. This is the 2-player starter set for core space's game. Now this is actually done by the guys who make Battle Systems terrain. So the box actually comes with a neoprene gaming mat and like a huge massive pile of terrain. You get all this clipped together terrain for like a 3D starship board. I should just, why am I turning the camera? I'm just going like that. I'm an idiot. And this big rulebook and stuff too. You get 2 scavenger crews. Although scavenger crews can also just be like, you can make your own base kit of characters and stuff, and then you get all these awesome like robot models, which are, I think they're called the Plague. What are they called? The Purge. And they're basically like a machine apocalypse zombie thing where there's different types of machines. It's like the helpers went crazy and then aliens and stuff to lead them to. There's NPCs, so these cool ass NPCs who like you can interact with, like trade and get stuff off of. And they have an awesome like kind of cyberpunk flair to them. I'm pretty jazzed about this. So we're getting those painted up and trying this out because it's kind of like half skirmish, half dungeon crawler. The terrain looks awesome. There's like character control cards and mats, like tons of stuff, and I'm gonna do a review of this book as well. So yeah, so tons of, oh my god, tons of pans in the fire. Gotta get my hammer clock finished. I'm just trying to get like an update. I can't remember if I'd had this stuff all, like the colors like blocked in on him yet. I showed him last week, but that's my last Monster Apocalypse miniature I have to paint that I have unpainted. And then yeah, like on top of that, I gotta paint an Infinity Army. I'm painting, you guys voted, and I'm painting the Invincible Army for Sword and Brushes ITS I'm going to. And that's gonna get done next week, and so too, I'm gonna finish that next week. So like there are many pans and many fires. Oh yeah, I've got to paint up all my characters and NPCs to run the first mission for the Fallout Wasteland Warfare, or not Wasteland Warfare, Fallout role-playing game, tabletop role-playing game too. So we are thick with things to do. But yeah, there's this week's like stuff that got thrown on the fire. So I got another 2 miniatures. There's only 2 miniatures done for this week, taking me to 502 for the year out of 886. I got 386 to go. So we're over halfway. We're crushing the year so far, but it is August. It's getting late in the year. And having a slow week always makes me go, what am I doing? So we'll see where we get to next week. Of course, there's a million things to do and lots of great new games to try. So big thanks for watching. Tomorrow you can check out my most recent Let's Talk. And then next week we'll be back with more battle reports. So today, if you want to check out the review of the Fallout tabletop RPG, you can click up here in the cards and go give that a look. That'll be out as well, where I go through the new tabletop RPG from Modiphius that really brings the tabletop game and all the stuff they've made into that like Fallout feel, where you can do some like narrative RPG, like linked battles and stuff, but still firmly puts in the tabletop with miniatures and toy soldiers too. So I'm super excited. So anyway, we'll see you next week for more On the Paint Table. Till then, I'm Ash. Happy gaming. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support the channel, of course, like and subscribe and hit the little bell below so you get notifications when I post future content. I do post stuff 7 days a week. If you want to support the channel further, you can, of course, buy a t-shirt through Spreadshirts, buy a measuring gauge or objective markers from Death Ray Designs, or, of course, most importantly, there is Patreon. Patreon is what makes all this possible, keeps the lights on, pays for the studio costs, pays for the equipment, model costs, and everything else, and most importantly, puts food in my kids' bellies and a roof over their heads. Big thanks to everyone, past, future, who supported me. I do this stuff because of you guys, and of course, I will continue doing it as long as I can.